Hello, friends! Today we are reading The Nantucket Sea Monster, written by Darcy Pattison, illustrated by Peter Willis. This is a true story about fake news. August 7th, 1937 was a warm Saturday on Nantucket Island, just off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Across the island, people opened the weekly edition of the Enquirer and Mirror newspaper and spread it out. There, in the middle of the front page, was a startling headline. A sea monster! Bill Manville says he saw one off Nantucket, insists he was not dreaming, hopes it appears again to verify his story. People read the incredible story from fisherman Bill Manville. On Wednesday, August 4th, he'd been out in his boat looking for bluefish, as it was about the time they showed up. After hours with no luck, he discovered the reason for the missing fish. He saw a terrible-looking head rise 15 to 20 feet above the water. "It wasn't a whale," he insisted. "I saw the thing with my own eyes about 9:30 this morning." The newspaper story ended. "Now we are waiting to hear from someone else who saw it." Someone else had seen the sea monster. Businessman and sportsman Ed Crocker wrote a letter to the newspaper. He said that on August 4th, the same day as Bill Manville, he saw the denizen of the deep. On Monday, August 9th, Gilbert "Gibby" Manter was also looking for bluefish. Instead, a flock of gulls flew overhead, acting like they were frightened, and then he saw it just outside the breaker waves, closer to the tiny Tuckernuck Island than to Nantucket. "I've never seen anything like it." The sea monster's head was ugly, with something looking like horns. A light streak ran along its dark greenish side, the back humped out of the water. "Do you think it was the same thing that Manville saw?" asked the newspaper editor. "I guess 'twas the same creature, all right," Gibby said. The story was gaining credibility. After all, the newspaper printed the stories, so it had to be true. More and more people believed the impossible. A sea monster was hovering around their island, and they were scared. Ed and Gibby decided to investigate together. On Tuesday, August 10th, they were walking along Nantucket Beach when they found something incredible. Footprints. Excited, they called the newspaper, who sent photographers. The footprints appeared to be from a web-footed animal. They measured about 66 inches long by 45 inches wide. A second set of footprints was reported near Smith's Point and was soon photographed. It was reported that these were the first photographs ever made of a sea monster's tracks. The newspaper editor telegraphed scientists in Boston and New York for help in identifying the monster. "Can send picture for inspection if desired." If the footprints were that big, how big was the monster itself? Later on August 10th, the word spread as friends talked to friends. The sea monster had been captured. People flooded the docks to see it. Captain Balfour Yerxa came in. Instead of the sea monster, he had caught 3 big sand sharks. The sea monster was still out there, somewhere. Everyone had something to say about the sea monster. "It's a killer." "Just a whale." "It's just a bunch of porpoises at play." "It's just wreckage." Dewey Sansbury said, "That fella came ashore on the east end of the island last night and drank Squam Pond dry." Another said that the tracks were so deep that a Coast Guard tractor had to pull Lester Simmons' car out of the sea monster's tracks and onto a firm foundation. Across the nation, people read of the Nantucket Sea Monster and shivered. Meanwhile, Bill Manville asked the Massachusetts head fish and game warden for information. Could sea monsters be hunted? On Saturday, August 14th, the weekly paper printed eyewitness stories and photographs of the sea monster tracks. Scientists at the Harvard Museum of Zoology and the Boston Aquarium studied the footprint photos and reported back. They both said that they didn't know any creature capable of making such tracks. But then all seemed quiet. Suddenly, on Wednesday, August 18, news came. Tony Sarg had caught the sea monster. It was dragged up onto the South Beach. Everyone ran to the beach. Maybe it was just sand sharks again, but they had to see. When they got there, they couldn't believe their eyes. The sea monster was a huge rubber balloon. It was made by Tony Sarg, the famous puppeteer and owner of the local curiosity shop. Since 1928, he had designed the massive balloons that flew over the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. The 135-foot sea monster was one of Sarg's balloons. The whole thing had all been a big publicity stunt. The August 21 issue of the Enquirer and Mirror explained the elaborate hoax. Sarg, along with Macy's officials, decided to put on a publicity stunt. They would float the balloon near a beach and create a stir. They talked with a newspaper's editor and other newsmen on the island and off the island. All the newsmen agreed to go along. Perth News, which created newsreels, sent cameramen on August 16th to film the sea monster. The newspaper said, as a result, Nantucket was mentioned in favorable news stories from Cape Cod to California. The actual cash value of the space obtained is difficult to estimate, but will run into many thousands of dollars. R.H. Macy and Company of New York City, the newspaper said, did not attempt to commercialize or try to make money from the event. They were only mentioned because Mr. Sarg had created their balloons. The newspaper story concluded, "To date, no one has reported suffering from the results of this publicity stunt." The Nantucket Sea Monster flew in the 1937 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and was seen by millions.